Welcome back to another episode of Turn It Up. And as you can see, I am starting the show off with a little Duff McKagan signature Fender P bass. Beautiful, 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 all blacked out, nice. So today we are going to be going over Ben's top 10 favorite bass. I'm going to talk a lot about my love for bass. It was the first instrument I ever got from my mother. She bought me a bass when I was young. I learned how to play it through church. Guys in church taught me how to play it. Jason Hickerson, who's no longer here, but a great man, a great musician, fabulous musician, but taught me a lot about bass, taught me classic little bass runs. He taught me to. And by the way, I'm not sure this is going to sound great going through this recording. But anyways, I just thought, suggestion from a friend, to just sit down with my bass and talk about them. You know, when I go over this, instead of playing the clips of them like I normally do, to just sit down and talk about bass with a bass. And I was like, well, you know what? That makes sense. There's many ways you can play bass. You can hold the bottom end of the bass down. You can play with your fingers, as I was doing, or you play with the pick. I mean, even when I was playing with the pick. Simmons impression. But there's many ways you can go about playing it. The bottom line is what it does. It's the foundation of all music, the bass is. The bass ties the drums, the guitars, and the vocals together. The bass is the warm, low end to all music. And to me, it's just a beautiful thing. It's an unsung hero in music, and that part attracts me to it too, because it is the unsung hero in music. Nevertheless, to move on, we're going to go over my top 10 favorite bass players. And once again, this is not the top 10 most skilled bass players, although they all have skill and they all have talent. But this is Ben's top 10 favorite bass players. So it may be a little different than what most people think. And I'm okay with that. Before I start, I do want to point out this beautiful bass right here. This bass right here is an 86 Fender P, American made, and this bass means a lot to me. A lady at work's husband, Mr. James Roy, played bass for years and was a tremendous bass player. His hands got to hurting him, and he just decided that he didn't want to do it no more, and he thought that bass needed to go to a good home. And he told Miss Wilma he was thinking about selling it. And Miss Wilma came to me, and she was, we call her Granny, and we call him Granddaddy. She came to me, she goes, well, I guess old Granddaddy's going to get rid of that bass. And he's talking about putting it on Marketplace. And I was like, no, he's not. I'm going to buy that bass. Coming to get it right now. And when I got it from him, he was like, he goes, I wanted you to have that. And he goes, I wanted it to go to a good home where it would be played and appreciated. Because it's just a great sounding bass. It's wonderful bass. I try not to use it a lot because I think a lot of it, and I cherish it a lot, and I just want to hold on to it forever. I try not to mess with it too much. To me, it's just a great bass, and it sounds great. And like when I record a bass, a lot of times I'll use that. I probably should have used it for this opening track. But this bass is extremely heavy, and this bass is light. So that's possibly one of the reasons why I did it. But I got another one back here too. You see, I'm a Fender Precision bass is my preferred bass. They're simple. They're a great creation. All my heroes play them. I mean, but they're real. No matter what you get when you buy a Fender P, you're going to get a good sound. You're going to get through any amp, through whatever, you know what you're going to expect, and you're going to get a good sound. Once again, though, moving on, I know what you're saying. Ben, quit all that mouth running and get on with the show. Well, you know what? I'll do what I want to do. Stop booing me. Well, anyways, so let's start off the show right now with number 10 on my list. Number 10 on my list is going to be Jason Newsted from Metallica. And I know what you're saying. I can hear you saying it right now.
Why Jason Newsted?
Why not Cliff Burton? Why not Robert? Well, my introduction to Metallica, Jason Newsted is the bass player for Metallica, was. My introduction to Metallica came later, and it came through the song One, the video on MTV, and Jason Newsted was the bass player. When I went and seen him live for the first time, Jason Newsted was the bass player. I think Jason Newsted is highly underrated as a bass player. Not that Cliff Burton's a phenomenal bass player, great bass player. Robert is tremendous, can play so much other stuff than just the typical bass player. But to me, Jason had the groove in Metallica. And if you want to check out a prime example of what I'm talking about, is Jason Newsted on bass, is go check out Sad But True. That bass line, just wonderful bass line. Go check it out. Go check out Whiskey in the Jar. Jason Newsted, highly underrated, and gets a lot of hate, and I don't understand why. Because he does nothing but wear his heart on his sleeve, play music, and play it to the best of his ability, and he's really good. So Jason Newsted came in at number 10. At number nine, I'm going with somebody that inspired me a lot to play bass. In most of his bass playing is a lot of technical, has a real precise sound all to itself. There's a lot of fast little licks like that, but he's also a singer and a bass player and keyboard player. He's synonymous with bass. People recognize Geddy Lee. That's who I'm coming in at number 9 was Mr. Geddy Lee. And there's a whole lot of love in the bass community for Geddy Lee, and rightly so. The guy's just a really, really great bass player. Plays a lot of great stuff. Just awesome bass player. I can't say enough about him. Awesome songwriter, awesome singer, awesome keyboard player. Plays in one of the greatest bands ever, Rush. If you really want to check out some Rush, I recommend all of it. Let's say go check out Working Man. Check out Working Man. But anyways, at number 9, Mr. Geddy Lee, great bass player. At number 8 is one of my favorites of all time. Plays in one of my favorite bands. Great music. Such great melody he plays. Some of the most famous bass lines ever. Mr. Leon Wilkins from Leonard Skinner. Mr. Leon Wilkins. Bass playing is just can be anything you want it to be as long as you hold the foundation and make the song move, make the song boogie. And Leon does it every time he touches the bass. Interesting thing about Leon, a lot of people don't realize, is Leon was not a finger player. A lot of people think he was. I thought he was forever too, but Leon is a pick bass player. He likes to play with a pick. So let me play that little Simple Man intro again for you. But he uses a pick. It's not the fingers. Most guys who play a lot of runs like Leon does like to play with their fingers, but Leon liked to play with the pick, like the way it cut through the mix. Great bass player. If you need any proof of what Leon does, just go listen to any Leonard Skinner song, and you'll be fine. Moving on to number 7. Number 7 is a guy who influenced me a lot through his band. His band's still one of my favorite bands. Throw this band on all the time. Me and Mr. Al, who I work with at work, talk about it all the time. Just a great band, and Eric was a big part of it. I mean, he had the look. He used to swirl his bass around his neck with the bass strap. But Eric Brittenham from Cinderella, everybody. Just always held the groove down. never overplayed a song, not one time in all his recording. You get what I'm talking about. You want to check out anything from Eric Brittenham? Don't Know What You Got Till It's Gone. Shake Me. Gypsy Road. And by the way, I'm not playing these bass lines exactly when I'm referencing them. I'm not stealing them bass lines, the melody from the beginning of the Skinner thing. I did play, but y'all don't tell anybody, and maybe I won't get in any trouble with copyright police. Funny thing here too is trying to play the bass line close without playing it exact. It's harder than you think when muscle memory and everything else takes over. When you're trying to play the bass line off of what you know, to play it not note for note, when you've learned it note for note, really does something with your brain. And I don't know what it is, but, and no, I'm not baked out of my mind. Not all bass players get high. Well, never mind. We're not going to talk about that. We're moving on to number 6. Number 6 on the list is Mr. the one and only Duff McKagan from Guns N' Roses. Super groove man right there. Duff McKagan has got the groove for days. His realm, his taste, what he uses inside Guns N' Roses, I mean, just always putting the groove into the song. I'm not going to get in trouble with the copyright police. We're not doing that. Always put them little runs in there. Always putting little feels. Just a bass player's bass player. Duff really gets what it's like to play bass. And a lot of people say he plays bass like a guitar player, but I don't hear it, man. He plays a lot of straight groove bass playing, a lot of funk in his bass playing. There's a lot of funk elements in Duff's bass playing. Always has been one of my favorite bass players, along with the whole band. Guns N' Roses is one of my favorite bands. Great band, Duff McKagan, great bass player, number 6. At number 5, the one and only, the fretless monster, Tony Franklin. Tony Franklin, the fretless monster. I encourage every one of you to go check out on Facebook Tony Franklin's page. You'll enjoy every minute of his posts. He's a character. He's funny. He's entertaining. He's phenomenally talented. He plays bass like nobody's business. Plays on a fretless bass. And for those of you who don't know, you see these little lines right here. Those right there that go across. Them are frets. And what happens when you press in between these, you hear that gradual go up? That's the fret running across the string. What Tony Franklin has is no frets on his bass. He plays just a smooth fretboard, and unfortunately, I don't have a fretless bass, but I will try to give you some of that, try to mock some of it. It just a whole different sound, and it's hard to do on. Just, he's phenomenal. He plays great, and I'm doing him disjustice sitting here trying to play something similar to Tony Franklin on a non-fretless bass. And it's just, I'm sorry, Tony. I apologize. Please don't be mad at me. But Tony played in The Firm. Tony Franklin also played in Blue Murder. Great band. Go check out Blue Murder. Listen to Jelly Roll. Start with Jelly Roll. Plays with Lou Graham. Plays with John Fogerty from CCR. Top-notch musician and well sought after. And just, I don't know him personally, but because of his Facebook interactions with him all the time, just seems like just a great guy you want to be around all the time. I'm telling you, do yourself a favor, go check out Tony Franklin. You won't be sad on that at all. Moving on, we're going to number 4, and it's the main man himself. This guy started more techniques than anybody else probably on bass besides Jamie Jamerson, who started the Motown stuff. Plays groove like nobody's business, but always has so much flash and so much to say. Really, truly a virtuoso of the instrument of bass. Played in Mr. Big, plays in Winery Dogs, plays in Adrenaline Mobs, plays in 2,345 bands. If they can afford him, he will come play for you. Billy Sheenan. Billy Sheenan does so much for the bass community, has always been a pioneer of the bass, just a true representative of what bass guitar should be. Does a lot of that, Billy Sheenan, tremendous talent. First instructional tape I ever got was a Billy Sheenan instructional tape when I was young. Just been so influential for me over the years. I've seen him live Me and my wife Tammy got to go see Mr. Big on their last tour, and Billy's still just phenomenal. And there's another guy you want to go check out on Facebook. Billy Sheenan recently moved to Nashville, and when he's not out playing in Japan, playing around the world, playing on tour, he's on his back porch in Nashville feeding squirrels and deers and rabbits, or showing you what kind of meal he cooked. Likes to interact with everybody. Just a genuinely good dude and a class act. Billy Sheenan at number 4. At number 3, this guy I can't say enough about. Plays bass like bass is supposed to be played. True lunch pail guy, shows up for work, does his job all the time. Never overplays the song, plays what the song is needed. Never gets in the way, never tries to outshine anybody with what he's doing. Just produces great music and plays the instrument for what it is. And it's Mr. Cliff Williams from the band AC/DC. And a lot of people would be like, you think he's talented enough? The dude's played on so many albums, went on so many world tours in the biggest stadiums that there ever has been, and he's rock solid every time he steps up, he does his job. You'll never hear of Cliff Williams having a bad performance. Why? Because he's a professional. To me, that's what matters, and I dig his groove, that little intro thing I was doing in the beginning. And like I said, guys, this ain't his. Don't judge Ben's bass playing by this video, because playing with this mic and this little setup and trying to run everything and trying to do everything, make sure sound levels are good, and it's not my forte. Playing in a live situation with the band is what I like to do on bass. But just an example of his bass playing, always likes it. Great example of Cliff Williams bass playing. Every AC/DC track that Cliff Williams played bass on is a great example of how to be a great bass player and how to play for the song. Once again, double round of applause for this guy, because he gets zero credit, and the bass community doesn't give him the credit he needs either. Everybody needs to give this man a little credit, so I'm giving him a double round of applause. Cliff Williams. And no, I didn't play that note for note, so copyright police, leave me alone. Moving on to number 2. Number 2 is a guy I grew up with, seeing everywhere you go, everywhere you went. When you turned MTV on, he was in a video. He might have been in this band's video or this band. I can remember watching a top 10 video show, and he was in 3 different videos from 3 different bands. The guy's an extreme talent, complete stage master, has stage presence for days, can play bass like nobody's business, is a true ambassador of the bass, preaches the love for the bass, open and willing to show. He has countless videos on YouTube where he shows people what to play or how to play bass or how to be better. Knows all music theory, helps teach music theory, modes, scales, and another cat, when go check him out on Facebook, he loves to post about animal rescues and his love for the Lord, and his great friend who passed, Mr. Randy Rhodes, and who I'm talking about at number 2 is Mr. Rudy Zarzo. That Rudy Zarzo. This Rudy Zarzo. Rudy has some of the coolest moves. Rudy, still at 70-something years old, has the coolest moves. Rudy at 70 looks younger than I do, and I don't know how he does it. Still moves around the stage like a beast. Still plays with a fire. Great groove, great technician. Mr. Rudy Zarzo, you will recognize him from his bass playing in Quiet Riot. Quiet Riot is Come On Feel the Noise, great song to go check out. He did not play Bang Your Head, Mental Health. He didn't play that. That's not him. That's Chuck Wright, who played that bass line, great bass line too. Chuck Wright, a really good bass player on his own. But the Quiet Riot is Rudy Zarzo. He played with Ozzy. You'll see him in them Crazy Train video. You know, he starts it off with it. You know, that's Rudy starting it out. Played with Whitesnake. He's in every one of the Whitesnake videos. Extremely talented guy and a really genuinely nice guy. Rudy Zarzo coming in at number 2 on Ben's top 10 bass players. And at number 1, there can only be one number 1 in Ben Westfall's top 10 bass players. And it's the man himself, the boss, Steve Harris. Steve Harris is the bass player for Iron Maiden, and if you'll remember my video on the Iron Maiden rating, you hear me talk quite extensively about that. Steve is not only the bass player, he's the principal songwriter. He runs the band. He started the band. It's his musical direction. He also plays with British Lion. Steve is an absolute driven beast of a master on bass, but he plays bass like nobody else. I mean, Steve Harris, the Gallup master himself, created a whole genre on it. Now everybody, let's set this down. Maybe not. See what I'm talking about? This is harder to run than what you think it is. Steve Harris, the man, the legend, great bass player, great bass player. Go check out Iron Maiden. Check out every bit of Iron Maiden you can. If you don't have Iron Maiden in your life, you're living it wrong. I'm just going to say that right now. Steve Harris single-handedly put bass love in my heart. If I could play in one band and have it locked down, have the gig locked down, it would definitely be Iron Maiden. And like I said, do not judge my bass playing or what I'm doing here off of any criteria, because trying to play this song not like this song for copyright reasons and trying to play with if you only knew how much stuff I have attached to me right now. Like, I tried to set this bass down, I got 63 wires. I feel like I'm half robot. But anyways, to do my list of the top 10 bass players was an absolute joy. It was fun for me, and it was something that I really care about. And I hope you enjoy it too. If not, I understand. And look, I know most people could care less about bass players, but every one of these videos that I do, I try to at least shine some light into something maybe somebody doesn't understand or somebody doesn't know about or appreciate. And if you can come away with appreciating a little bit of this by appreciating the 4-string bass, then I feel like I've come away with making you just that much cooler and that much smarter, because
it's all about the low end.
and these guys are masters of the low end. But once again, if you don't do anything this week, do me one favor. Make sure you turn it up.